Hello again, it's Vivian Parry, it's EASD TV, and it's that time of the day when we are wrapping up. And we've introduced a special form of torture this year because what we've done is we've made members of the programme committee go and check out all the things that they've programmed and then come back to us and tell us what they've enjoyed. So the proof of the pudding is about to be revealed, and I have with me John Petrie and Francesca Amati, both on the programme committee. And how long ago was it that you programmed this?
It was about a year ago.
About a year ago. So tell me, what have you seen today that you thought was great?
I'd start with the UK Prospective diabetes study, 44-year follow-up, because this is one of the longest trial follow-up periods ever for any trial. And the results were, to me were, more interesting than I expected, because you would think after all this time that the differences between the groups as originally randomised would perhaps have declined or vanished, but actually the effects, for example, particularly of the metformin arm of the trial, and where obese people were randomised to metformin or placebo for 10 years, are still very easy to see. So the reduction in myocardial infarction, as well as some other endpoints, is still persisting, and the life expectancy of people on metformin is longer by several years. So it's kind of talks to the foundations of how we manage people with diabetes. This question about the position of metformin in the pathway for type 2 diabetes, I think it kind of validates more or less the current position, which has been under some challenge.
Francesca, what did you see?
I was thinking the day was amazing, but one thing that really struck me was the symposium called Exercising Your Tissues. And it was really interesting because it's a new way we look at exercise in conjunction with diabetes treatment and with specific diet, but also how to exercise during the day, what time of the day, and what kind of exercise. And there is a lot of new things going on in the exercise physiology field in diabetes. For example, we heard about exerkines, which are the little molecules that are believed to be excreted by the muscle and act in the other tissues, and that was really a high moment as well.
And what have you taken away from that as a practicing clinician?
So, as a practicing clinician, I would say two things. The first one is exercising is important, and there is not one type of exercise, but the exercise that a person will do because she likes this exercise will be sufficient. The other thing we saw, it's not better to do more than necessary. We had a study looking at people exercising 3 times per week comparing to those exercising 6 times per week in conjunction with diet, and the 3 times per week gave the same results. So we don't need to be crazy about it. We just need to move.
Very interesting. Another one from you, John.
Okay, so the symposium I just came from on climate change was, I thought was fantastic. That was actually a symposium I proposed. As you said, you spoke earlier to one of the speakers, Fiona Adshead, but the second speaker has just finished speaking, Lutz Heinemann, and he focused on the actual amount of plastic waste that individual with type 1 diabetes ends up with, and if they don't throw it out, they just collect it for a few months. And he showed photographs of, just tables stacked with plastics and packaging, and he, on a serious level, he talked about the whole sort of life cycle of diabetes products, and the way that we should start to think in the future about the regulation of the manufacture of disposable products and using fewer disposable products, and a big challenge. But with all the challenges going on in the world at the moment, I felt there was a really positive feeling. Some people in the audience got up and tried to give him a standing ovation. It was really quite exciting.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said when he was here in the studio was that actually if you were able to alter the regulations so that manufacturers didn't have to do, the 200-page booklet that nobody ever reads that gets thrown in the bin in straight away, and you did YouTube videos instead, that would be enormously helpful. So, some of these measures are easier than you think. What else did you see?
I like to look at all things that are still valid today. So we had posters today on learning how to make new tricks to old dogs. And the name, dog is not really adapted here, but one of the posters was about, short orals, was about patient education, how to go back to that one individual, one person, and teach them how to manage their own disease. And that's something I think that was in fashion maybe 10, 15 years ago, but that we need to go back. So today we're a lot talking about precision medicine, how one person can have a specific treatment more than another because of genetic or molecular traits, but also about what's their adherence and their wanting to play a role in the care of themselves.
You mentioned the short oral discussions. That's a new format this year. How did you feel that went?
I really enjoy them. It is true that when we were doing posters, it was somewhat the same format. Like everybody was around the poster with the I don't know how you say to listen, right? Earphones. Thank you very much. And the person presenting was in front of the poster and pointing. And the truth is, here we see a lot better because we see details now. So we're still all around the person, and the person is presenting few slides, but it goes smoothly, and also it's less disturbing to be too much around people. So it was really interesting. I like the format, and I hope we're going to keep it for a few years.
Anything else?
Can I comment on that too? Did you hear people describing it as like a silent disco?
John, how did you find the atmosphere after so long away from being with others in person?
Yeah, well, great is a short answer. That it's so much nicer to be in person and to be shaking hands with some people or bumping fists with other people, and I think it's there's so much interaction goes on, and I've always enjoyed the ESD, and I'm enjoying this one too. I was also going to mention this other symposium about hypoglycemia that caught my attention, and this was one where there were two different groups from Dundee were presenting. There was a few other talks, but the first of the ones from Dundee was around the rates of hypoglycemia that are associated with insulin and other drugs on an epidemiological basis on a population-based study looking at ambulance call-outs and showing that particularly the modified release version of glycoside was associated with much lower rates of hypoglycemia than even the standard version, and the cost being slightly higher, but the offset against the ambulance call-outs would far outweigh the prescription costs. There was another talk just after that about an intervention for people with type 1 diabetes who have impaired hypoglycemia awareness, high-intensity training intervention, very nicely done, small study funded by the JDRF, which appeared to show that you could restore the sort of neurohormonal response to hypoglycemia in terms of adrenaline and glucagon, etc., just by some sessions, regular exercise sessions, which is a really nice model that stimulated a lot of questions.
So you've obviously both had a great time. I'm going to ask you now to each score the programme today. Out of 10, what would you give the programme today?
Oh, today was a great day. I would give a 9.
Well, 11.
11 from John. I kind of knew that you might say that. You've clearly had a very, very good day. So there you have it. 2 people from the programme committee who give a very high score to the programme, but actually, seriously, they've had a very good day today, and it has been a great day. And of course, the best thing of all is that you can go out and look at those events, those presentations on EASD web service. Bye for now.